Welcome in, everybody. It's another episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, a.k.a. Merchel, a.k.a. I'm back.
Mitch is back.
You guys held it down in my absence. Of course, one of those holding it down was our guy, downtown Duane Brown.
It's good to have you back, buddy.
Thank you. Wow, thanks. That's what I should have said. I blew it. See, I'm out of my rhythm. I'm missing the bits. All right, enough about us. Yaya currently stuck on top of the roof at the Caesars Hotel, at the Caesars Palace Hotel
Super
in Vegas. Hopefully someone finds him soon.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Yeah.
He's getting a
But
nap.
he's around. Yeah. Joining us from Burgundy Wave, Rapids Media, OG, Braian Jennings. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, boys. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Wow.
Great to be with y'all.
This is fun. I'm glad. We've been talking about this in the press box for 2 years now.
I know
basically.
we have, haven't we?
Yeah, and so it's good. It's good to finally get you on. Ton to talk about. We have, obviously, we're just done with the Mexico portion of preseason.
Yep.
We got some other news in terms of player movement related to the Rapids. We're going to talk about maybe could some new single season records be this year for the Rapids? Maybe. Who knows?
Perhaps.
Everyone's hyped on a lot of these incomings, so we'll take a look and see if it's even possible. And we're just going to kind of get into covering the Rapids, what it's like being, independent journalists and sort of doing that extra for the love of covering a team, So
The struggle is real.
lots to go on there, but first we got to talk about Diego Rubio. True Rapids legend. His 16-goal season will be remembered for a long time.
Yeah. Hasn't been approached close to that in a long time.
No.
No.
He was the bright spot of of that year. He wasn't really the bright spot last year.
Yeah.
Took about 5 seconds after the last game to finish for him to say that he was out of here. A lot of rumors had him connected to a club in Uruguay. Didn't go there
Yeah.
because he is going to be wearing the green in Austin. Signed for $350K, a 1+1. Austin is running back the 2022 Rapids attack.
Yeah.
Good idea, bad idea.
I mean, for them, it's a, I don't want to say it's a throwaway, but I mean, it's not that big of a money deal.
Sure.
Diego's, let's be honest, whatever you want to say, he puts the ball in the back of the net. So,
Some years.
yeah, more
When he's
so
healthy.
When he's not injured.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I almost kind of see it as them taking a flyer, but I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anybody saw that coming per se.
No, I think
so,
people were ready for a trip back to South America for him.
Yeah.
I think in our minds, right, Dwayne?
I did not expect to see Diego in MLS.
Right.
So
And such is
that
the way of
was-
MLS.
Yeah.
You just, it's hard to predict. It's hard to figure out where people are going to go or project it until they show up there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he goes down there. It's him and Giassi Zardes. Obviously, we know the goal scorers down there with Sebastian Drusi and the company down there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was looking through the his seasons, Diego Rubio's seasons, obviously the 16-goal season, best season he's had.
Yeah.
Only one other time in double digits, one at 8, one at 6, and the rest were below 5 throughout his career.
Right. Yeah.
Only over 2,000 minutes twice, the two biggest goal scoring seasons he's had.
Mm-hmm.
Should we expect a Diego renaissance in Austin, or should we expect one of those down years? Coming, injured plague season in 23. I think he got 3 goals last year.
Yeah, the thing with Diego is that, I don't see him as a true striker.
Right.
He doesn't need to carry the goals for Austin on his shoulder. They've got goal scorers down there already, and I think the value of Diego is that he's a troublemaker. And it's that he gets in, he screws with the defense
Yes.
so that Giassi could get in the middle and pick up a garbage goal. Or Drusy is in there, and he
Giassi
can get.
loves the garbage
Yeah,
goals.
he does. I mean, he does. I mean, hey, man, a garbage goal is a goal. Who cares? But I mean, that's like one of the big values of Rubio is that he is a threat.
He's a disruptor, like
yeah,
you said. That's exactly what.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so it allows other goal scorers to get into a good position
Yes.
to put the ball in. So I don't know that it's going to be a Diego like goal renaissance.
Sure.
But I do think he's going to have. I think Austin's going to have.
Well, he doesn't even have to start.
No, he doesn't.
He can
And,
play
like,
30 minutes a match.
Exactly.
45 minutes
Which
match when you average it out, get some starts here and there.
Yeah.
I see that being the scenario too. You know, like you said,
Stay
he's
healthy.
a guy who
Yeah.
will.
Yep.
He makes defenders pay attention to him,
Right.
and that opens up, like you said, they have goal scorers, so they don't need him.
He
to
doesn't
do it.
need to be that. Yeah.
If he
and-
gets them, great. But
In Colorado, we needed him to be that.
Yes.
And that's not his best. That's not his best role.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So it could be a good thing for Austin.
Yeah.
You know, we love Diego. I hope he does great down there.
Absolutely.
I think he's on a team that's on the way down.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So
unfortunately.
it's going to be it's going to be a lot like playing for the Rapids last year. For
maybe not
for
last
Diego.
year. Maybe more like 2022. I'm not that down on Austin.
It's going to be, well, I mean,
Last year was bad.
not bottom of the table bad. Okay, all right, you're right. Maybe 2 years ago.
there's falling down, there's falling off a cliff.
Yes.
So
That's good. Thank you for checking me on that one.
Wander's nailed it there. 9.5 is perfect. He's not quite a 10, not quite a 9. Somewhere right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Giassi will be the target guy. Drusy will be, the main creator and goal scorer, and you just kind of fit Diego being the connector in there. I think it'll be interesting to watch. It gives me another reason to tune in for a team I like watching anyways. Great atmosphere, great stadium. Should be fun.
I'll definitely follow what he's doing and pay attention.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because we know him.
He's
Great
not,
guy.
I mean, it's the thing. Like
He's
not
been
a
in the
bad
chat
guy.
before.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He's a fun guy to watch, to follow, to be around.
Oh yeah.
He's got, he still has that passion. You're right. He likes to interact with people.
After that Seattle game last season,
Game 1.
when he was not with the team, he was here, and we had to go in on them.
Lawless had a real bad game.
Lawless
as
was
you remember.
terrible.
And
There
we
was-
got ready to mention it immediately, and already on the chat, Diego was like, no one person is responsible for this loss. Like,
He's like, it's all about the team. And
always like such a good guy
He
to
just
like
jumped you
protect
off at
his
the bit.
teammates,
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, we'll be watching. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, we'll be
Yes.
updating because we like our former PIDs. Once a PID, always a PID. So, depending. Unless you go to RSL, then you're out.
Yeah, right.
And you're out of here. Let's move on. Mexico. The boys are back from Mexico. They went to, I'm not going to say it because I'm not getting made fun of in the chat again. But they went to the same place as last year, played the same team as last year. They went 2-1. First game, they lost 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
The one was a Jonathan Lewis penalty. I'm not going to read into Lewis being a penalty taker. Not with the names on this roster, but good for him to bag a goal early. And it worked because he scored twice in Mexico. The next one, 5-1 win. Yapi, Galvan, Bassett, Harris with a brace. So you had 4 goal scorers in that 5-1 win. Finale, another 5-1 win. Yapi, Harris, Lewis, Rafa, Kevin Cabral. 5 goal scorers.
A lot of different guys there. Did you notice
Yes,
that?
9
I
goal
do
scorers.
like that.
No, wait, that's not right. 1, 2, 3. Yapi scored in 2 games. Harris scored in 2 games. Lewis scored in 2 games.
9. You're right.
Galvan scored 1. Yeah. You're right. Cool. Kevin Cabral. Good to see him get a goal in there.
Yeah.
If I'm just telling you who scored goals, because that's really, that's all we really have to go on. We didn't watch, right?
Yeah.
We didn't,
Other
we
than
talk to people and see what's up. Who are you? Who gets you the most excited from that list, Brian?
My couple things. The kind of the surprise for me was Harris.
Oh yeah,
I like to see him involved more like that because all we saw just spurts of him, and and really, that's almost what it was. He was just running the flanks last year.
It was him and Gutman together really had a nice
Yeah.
left side there for a while.
And I put out there a little bit on the socials. If anybody saw, I'm sure nobody pays attention, so it doesn't matter. But I like the way that they were engaging with each other from the few clips that we did see.
Right.
I liked their movement around goal and looking for guys in front of goal. So that tells me something too. So I'd say probably he would be my biggest surprise
3 goals
/
in 3
excitement
games,
about. Yeah.
You
And
know,
then-
he won't. He's probably not going to start. Definitely not profiling now as the starter on this team. But if he could be a super sub, right? Come in and
Yep.
just run the hell out of his tired defenders, and force them to make defensive subs to match for that.
Totally. And we need that. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest. We've seen depth and/or lack of depth.
Definitely see
What
lack
it
of
does in
depth.
seasons, right? So we need those guys who are used to interacting and getting in the mix. And I
Harris.
like the look of them.
I think that's a really good call out. How about for you?
It's the same. It's Galvan Harris. I've been a Calvin Harris guy since media day last year when you and I were there.
That's right. He was at media day last year.
His first impression with me was really, really strong.
Yeah.
And then when he did come on and get some minutes last year, especially towards the end of the season, and seeing that pairing with Gutman and just seeing him be able to break and make some of those chances happen was great. And now seeing him score some goals is awesome. So, I mean, I think he's the storyline right now for an offensive needy team.
And he works his tail off.
He does.
I mean, dude
And that's
has
the Armas system. To answer Mark's question,
Yeah.
with will Armas system be a fit for Harris? Will it favor Harris? Yes.
I think so too.
Run, press,
that is Harris
counter
is
the
made for that
counter,
system.
press, run.
Yep. Energy. Yeah.
Energy drink soccer. You love to see it. Harris definitely great call out. I think Yapi scoring in 2 different goals. 2 different games. Goals in 2 different games. Right? Last year he had a terrible time in the MLS, had a great time in Next Pro, including that epic winner in Next Pro Cup playoffs. And you kind of hoped, okay, like maybe it's not going to happen this season in MLS, but he had that moment, playoff winner, essentially 88th minute or something like that, to ice a playoff win.
People forget how young he still is.
He's 19 years old, right?
He
20?
looks like a grown what man.
Oh yeah,
And he always has. But yeah, you got to remember he's so young still. And I'm glad you are not taking the Twitter advice of not getting on the Yapi hype train.
Oh no, I'm on.
Get on the train.
I'm on. Let's go.
So
he just turned 19 in November, so he will be 19 for all of next season.
I
He's
have
a little
kids
baby.
older than that. Okay. Gosh.
It was just really good to see him. I mean, look, like he needs to be. There's no real true backup striker
Correct.
on this roster.
Correct.
Right? I mean,
It was
Rafa,
guys being
better
pushed in-
work.
Yeah.
there's
someone
a
is not enjoying-
a car horn right now.
someone is not enjoying the
And-
traffic outside right now.
We have a lot of construction outside DNVR right now, and someone is really.
It was distracting.
letting
Anyways,
it rip.
Yapi, good to see Yapi on. Oh my God.
Oh, it's a fire engine or something coming through, I think.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. We'll let-
Everyone,
all right, you
get
a
out of
pass.
the way.
You get a pass.
There's a siren.
Oh, paramedics. Okay.
Let's see what else we got here.
That was?
Huh.
It was the choo choo from the Yapi Express leaving the station.
The Yapi train.
That's what it was.
We also got
Get him, Twitter. Get him.
Rafa. Rafa on there got a goal. And, it was a cleanup goal. It was kind of a Giassi-esque goal.
Yeah.
Still nice to see.
It was
We
fun
didn't
to
get
watch
many of those, and we need those.
Last year there was a lack of presence in that penalty area.
Mm-hmm.
You have guys that can shoot from out of that penalty area from the edges, right?
Yeah.
You have obviously Cole's going to be launching.
Yep.
I guarantee Cole's got a green light this year. Georgie will be sending passes in. Omir's ready to shoot. right? Like
Yeah.
Omir's gonna be launching when he can.
Connor will pull a few out every now and then. too.
Absolutely. And so if he's in there and ready to sort of clean up and be that,
Which I remember when he came in last year, long story short, when we looked at kind of the clips of him, he was doing a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
He could do it. He was doing it with both feet, inside the box.
yeah.
And we just didn't get to see it.
So I think there'll be those opportunities for him this year.
Yeah.
You know, you wish you kind of saw more of a pure footy kind of goal, but you know, still got games in Orlando, still got
Right.
a whole season in front of us. Still nice to see.
Which again, from the clips that we saw that the team would put out, you know, the 3-minute little highlights. I mean, I did like some of that.
Oh yeah,
There, you can see there's some link up play. I think.
yeah. We saw that last year too. I mean, he really Gutman again. I keep bringing up Gutman,
Yeah.
but Gutman to
Darn, we have to
Rafa.
deal with Sammy Vines now.
Can Sammy Vines?
Rats. It's fine, everybody.
Never heard of him.
I know, but Gutman.
Some young kid from.
Gutman was able to break that line and go Gutman to Rafa,
Yeah.
right, and sort of help break those wingers out off of that pass.
Which I like the one goal that we just saw in the pass game, and you saw that from Sammy. Remember the camera angle? He caught him from behind, and he put that nice cross.
Yo, yeah.
Yep.
Good things are going to happen.
We're not losing anything on the left, that's
Nope.
for sure.
And then Dwayne's favorite player in the world, Kevin Cabral, also got a goal.
Hey, man, Kevin Cabral got a goal. Good for him. So,
Good for him.
I'm going to call it
love
now.
him.
I think he has a pretty good season. I think.
Okay,
he's,
what's pretty good? 5 goals?
I
For
can see
him
that.
would be amazing.
I can
Goals?
see that.
He had 2 goals last year. He had multiple.
I mean, I know people are going to throw out this, the money and the dollars,
Right.
but again, I
It's not my money.
bingo.
that's the right answer.
Uncle Stan's. I don't care. But again, in the clips that we saw, I like the way he's getting into things. I was actually got to see a little bit of training yesterday. He looks good movement wise and connection wise. Who knows? Maybe that's a lot to do with Chris Armas.
I hope so. We had Chris Armas here on the show. He hung out downstairs in the bar. When everyone kind of left, we were sitting
Yeah.
down there talking, and Chris comes and sits down, and I'm like, what are you going to do about Kevin?
He did. That was the first.
Because, look, I mean, we didn't get to talk about it on the show.
Like, hi, Chris. Wham.
Yeah, come on. Like, everybody we talk to that's non-local media,
Yeah.
everyone still has their Cabral stock. Everyone still has their Cabral stock. Everyone wants to see him finally get it, right?
I'll tell you. Speaking of that, I mean, I'm glad he's going to go get some minutes, but I was really ready to see Remy. His
Yeah,
brother
good for
come
Remy, though.
Get a few more minutes. So I like that he's going to get something. I wish it was with the Deuce here in town, but
Sure.
I get it.
I mean,
understand.
Phoenix
I
is,
like that it's down in Phoenix.
Phoenix
though.
is a step up from playing Next Pro.
Yeah,
That's
it
that's a good team.
Totally.
Now, obviously, they had some turnover. It's going to happen when your team wins a USL championship, but they've supplemented really well. They got Sarr who didn't go into the draft. So it's going to be an interesting lineup down there. Remy will definitely play a ton.
Yeah.
He'll get some good minutes.
Sorry, I
down
didn't mean
there.
to derail.
No. Look, we love Remy talk. We're big Remy heads over here. So I don't know.
We'll see on Kevin.
Let's see how it goes.
I think he'll do all right.
Any other
He will.
Any other big picture takeaways from Mexico that you guys want to hit on? Anything, whether it's just from seeing the team on social media or videos, whatever, talking to anybody around the club, kind of.
What if I told you that there was a player from the Rapids
Okay,
in 2 games,
I'd believe you.
or no, three games, had 2 goals and 2 assists,
I'd believe you.
and his
They
name
scored
was
a lot.
Jonathan Lewis.
All right, now I don't believe you.
That's crazy.
No, it's good.
It's awesome.
Johnny's
He's
way
having-
under the radar.
Yes, he is sneaky.
We forgot
right
about
now.
him.
He's under his own. He's under the radar 100% because he hasn't played very well for a couple of
And
seasons.
we're
I'm not
going
gonna
to
say
talk
why.
more. Yeah, Mitch is going to get into that a little bit. And
Yeah, I want to talk about
more,
that later.
but,
That would be second segment.
that was one takeaway as I was looking at, just kind of, and given this is preseason, these games don't matter at all. They're not even normal games. Some of the games are like in 4 25-minute quarters.
exactly.
Some are in 2 60-minute halves.
Yeah.
Last year they played 90
strange.
against Querétaro.
Yeah, and then they added on like another
And they
half hour
won.
for fun.
And then they lost
Yeah.
because they decided to play more.
Let's get
So
cocky.
it's
We got next.
This year, just 5-1 knocked them out.
so it's all practice and stuff.
It's all practice, but they're
Yeah.
scoring and they're winning. I mean, they lost the first one, I guess, so whatever.
There are
but
some fun things that I've talked to the club a little bit, and the big story is obviously the goals. That we have 9 players who have scored goals in 3 games, and for again a goal needy team over the last 2 years, that's where the obvious attention is going to go. So I reached out and just kind of wanted to get the scoop on kind of what are some other storylines going on, maybe from non-goal stores,
I got one.
who's looked good. There's a couple of fun things that are happening. One is Nate Jones.
Yep.
Especially in that first game.
He's a
the
big
story
MFer,
is
dude.
that because of the roster and trying to get people in, had to play over at the left back and just destroyed it. The dude is just a lockdown.
I'm excited.
He's a big guy,
He's a monster.
not afraid of anybody.
I'm very excited for him.
Super flexible, was comfortable playing, not just filling in at left, but like
Well, he's got that left
really
foot. He has a
locking
strong
it down.
left foot. He can pass.
Yes.
It makes sense to see him out there as like
Yeah.
oh shit, we need a left back real quick. Nate, you go.
Yeah, so I mean the draft,
Yeah.
what's the draft?
The 2024 MLS Super Draft presented by Adidas.
We typically don't look at the draft too much, but we've got a couple players who've really
Speaking
jumped
of the
in.
draft, Kamani
Yes.
was the name I heard.
That was my
Yeah. Well,
big
go ahead.
takeaway.
Go ahead. Yeah. I mean,
No,
I just energy, speed, right, all over the place is kind of what you hear from Kamani. I know he had at least 1 assist. I could be missing on another. I believe it was Kamani to Lewis for the Lewis's goal in the last game. I'm excited for him. I don't know. I haven't watched a ton, but the tape I've seen, I've liked.
Yep.
He fits the Harris Cabral crazy fast guy, but he has a little bit of poacher to him too in the box where he does want to get in there and mix it up and get a foot on ball and make something happen.
And that's
and
what I've noticed. He's willing to do it. He looks physically ready.
Yeah, he's not big, which is what's
Right.
really crazy.
Right.
Speed wise,
Yeah.
fast, fit.
Quick. He looks like he's got pretty good vision too. When you see some of the things when he was playing the ball, or he's where he was off the ball and then coming into the play. Again, from clips, relax. But the little bit you see him, and again, seeing him a little bit the other day, like him a lot.
And what we're hearing is that his play so far, even as a first year coming right out of the draft, is that he's not afraid of anybody. He's been taking guys on one-on-one and just beating dudes with pace.
That goes a long way.
Just
Look,
going right
being
after
fast
him.
is like that works in every league.
Yeah.
There's fast guys in every
Yep.
league, and whether or not they have the skill to back it up, but it helps to be faster than the guy in front of you, and
Yeah.
he is faster than the guy. I don't really care who's out there.
And
Between
hopefully,
Calvin, and him, they're probably faster than the guy in front of him.
yeah. And that's the thing. At least that puts you in a good position. Now, like you see in the past, like Sammy Nicholson, he could get around guys and past guys. Now what can you do from there to
that was
get
the
it?
problem.
Kick a
Yeah.
ball
Take it
right
the
into
next
the
step.
defender's leg if you're Sam Nicholson. Love you, Sam. Hope you're doing good in Scotland, my friend.
Love me some Sam.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into that second segment.
I got one more.
Oh, go ahead. One
This
more.
good story. Well, there's a couple more, but let me. I'll save the other ones.
Cliff notes.
This
Yeah.
one's fun. Like this one's great for Colorado Rapids. For all of us here at home, the homegrowns are really they're building a special chemistry.
That's good.
Like Ollie, Cole, Vines, Yapi. Like
All
there's
on the
something
field together.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
something brewing, and so talking to the club, it's very visually obvious, both on the pitch and off,
Yeah.
like the homegrowns are back together,
And now with Sammy
they're
back
cooking
in there,
something.
too.
Yeah, and now Sammy's back too, and there's just you feel something special with, and it's a lot of homegrowns for
Yeah.
one team.
Homegrowns.
So
That's cool. I like
Seeing
that.
them kind of build something, I think, is going to be something for us to watch this season as well,
On that
which is
note,
cool.
I think Ollie's going to he's going to have a little bit of an eye opener for fans. I think
It's
he's going to
interesting
have
time
because
for a
'cause
breakout for
it's
him.
kind of either him or Ralph in kind of that next midfielder onto the field, right?
Yep.
And so how is he gonna to separate himself there? It's gonna have to be defensively in that role.
Yes.
I think he can do it. So I'm interested in that. All right, we got to take a quick break. Ready? Break. All right, we're back.
Surprise! You didn't have to sit through an ad read today.
We're back. Okay. There's a rumor that we saw. And
Rumor police.
hey, this one is a sad one for a lot of fans, at least from their reaction on the internet. Braian Galvan, potentially on his way on loan down to Argentina. This one's really interesting to me, and I'm Galvan is a fan favorite.
Agree. People like him.
Electric, fiery. He had 2 red cards last year. Like he's getting into
got
it. Everybody.
attitude. Yeah.
Attitude. Statistically, go ahead and pull up that graphic for me, Tiff. I
Meh.
put this up on Twitter. I mean, meh. So I did the Jonathan Lewis comp because I think a lot of Rapids fans are very negative on Jonathan Lewis and very positive on Braian Galvan, which is fine.
Yeah.
I don't actually care. I like Galvan a lot. I just find it interesting that someone who is in the first percentile, which is the last percentile, is first percentile in non-penalty goals, first percentile in non-penalty XG, first percentile in assists, first percentile in touches in the opponent penalty area. Now you compare to John. I'm not saying Lewis also has a pretty poor profile. In the last year, this is his 365 days. Right, so Lewis is last in first percentile in passes completed, so you can pick them both apart. I just think it's interesting that when you see the news, Galvan potentially out, reaction is sad, right? Fans being really bummed out.
Yeah.
And you talk about Jonathan Lewis, and it's like, that guy's, get him out of here. Like, he's the first on the list of who's outbound for a lot of people. Am I onto something? Like, what is it? What's going on there? Like,
And I think you're right, because that does seem to be the sentiment. And Galvan, cheese. Galvan, he seems like he's always had potential next to him.
oh, yeah.
And
And still does. He's young.
totally. Again, we forget how young he is, even though he just got married and had a kid. I mean,
23.
and I think that, I don't want to say skews people's perception, but they still have that hopeful thought process in that, okay, this is the year. Okay, this is the year. Oh, he got hurt. Well, okay, this year he comes back. Super talented kid. I think he just needs, and maybe this is the reason for this possible rumored loan or what have you. He needs minutes.
Yeah.
He needs to put it back all together.
Well, and he's coming off an ACL, too.
Absolutely.
Right. And look, those are just rate-based numbers. Obviously,
I see it
Galvan-
as a good thing.
Yeah.
For just that fact.
Those are rate-based, right? So obviously Lewis is... But also Lewis didn't play a ton down the stretch either last year, right? I think both kind of got relegated to bench roles, basically.
Yep. Yep.
Look, I think Galvan has an upward trajectory, even if last year off the ACL, I think he was frustrated. He had the nice penalty goal to win the Dallas game.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, really didn't do much except get red cards, right?
Yeah,
And we'll talk about red cards later, actually.
Well, and that may have to do with how he was perceived by the staff and how they were fitting him in.
Sure.
This year's rosters, it's a different game. Chris Armas is a whole different
Oh, yeah.
mindset too. So it's going to be, and who knows, maybe, Chris could have seen him so far and said, you know what, great kid, great potential. He needs to develop again from what I've seen on tape or what have you.
And if you can go home and do it,
I think that's
right?
going to be, that's going to be big too.
You can, you're speaking your native language all the time.
He'll get comfortable.
Pressed,
man.
you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. I really just think it's curious when you see two guys who, are both on the wing.
Yeah.
Both have not really lived up to expectation, but one is popular, one is not amongst the fans. And I just thought that was a really curious dynamic, considering they both have failed to produce at a certain level.
Well, I think you see that too. I mean, look at center backs last year. There are people who love Danny Wilson. There are people who didn't care for Danny being here. Same thing with
Lawless.
Yeah. Right? And other guys.
Even
So
Maxu.
It happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. What's funny though about Lawless? I think I see more Lawless kids in the crowd than I see anybody else.
Yeah. You do see a lot.
And maybe that's just anecdotal, and I don't see everyone in the stadium.
No, there's a
obviously,
lot
but
of
it feels
Lawless
like there's
kids.
a ton of Lawless kids.
Yeah, he's
I
well
hope he
loved.
has a big bounce back season
Well,
too.
and he's so great with fans, and he's such a nice guy, and he's so much fun to just watch and be around. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Look,
I hope Galvan comes back.
me too. And he is.
I
I mean,
hope
it's
too.
a loan. It's
I
not
hope this is
permanent.
only a
Yeah.
loan. I hope it's not one of those loans with the intention to sell, because
Yeah.
I actually think, and again, I don't work at the club. I'm just a dude who talks about the Rapids. So what do I know? But I think Galvan is the kind of guy who would thrive in the Armas system, where you cut back into the middle and
yeah.
make that cone.
And you know how we know
like
that?
That's
Yep.
how do we know that?
Omir Fernandez
Yeah, of course.
being good in the Chris Armas system, right?
but I think-
that's kind of who you
No,
hope he could
Yeah,
become.
Do you think
I think
Galvan's,
Galvan is the guy for an Armas system. So I was kind of shocked to see the loan. I mean, if they're looking at it as let's get him more minutes because it's pretty crowded right now,
Right.
at that position,
Right.
and if they're loaning him with the intention of we believe he has something, so let's make
God, I
sure
hope
he
so.
gets the minutes so we can bring him back.
I hope so.
While it's crowded, then I'm all for it.
Yep.
If it's a loan with the intention to sell, I'm not sure that's the guy I would move, because I think Galvan is actually better than that graphic.
For
I know
sure.
numbers
Yeah.
don't lie.
Well, that's coming off an
but
ACL.
there's a
I mean, there's
whole-
obviously reasons.
Yeah, there's
for that
another
graphic.
story there, and having watched him play, we were talking this morning, the difference between quantitative and qualitative data.
Correct.
And I am more of a qualitative guy, which is why I make pictures for a living. And so it's, I don't know. I think Galvan is, I still think he is a guy, and I think
For sure
he
he
could
is.
be a guy for the Rapids. So
Yeah.
I hope that this is just a loan and we see him back in Burgundy
Yeah.
Same.
next year, if not sooner.
I see him as a casualty of Omir probably coming
Yep.
in.
Yeah, I think so. Again,
Wings are
that position
crowded.
is
The 10 is crowded.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we'll kick that can down the road a little and
Yep.
see how it plays out.
If he goes
Yep.
down and puts up goals, he'll come back
Yeah.
and put up goals here. ACLs are tough. Returns from big injuries are not linear as much as you want them to be, even if you have
Yeah.
medical tech as good as it's ever been, and rehab
And everybody's
practices, and everybody's different, and that's the mental aspect of, oh man, maybe I don't go into a big tackle, or maybe I'm avoiding contact, maybe I don't want to go mix it up in the box.
Yeah.
Hopefully he finds that when he's on, he's electric.
And he's a spark plug. He's
Hopefully
fun.
he gets back on.
Yeah.
It's kind of where that came from. Can you throw up that roster graphic for us there, Tiff?
Hey to Wanner's in the chat, by the way.
Oh yeah, Warner, shout out.
Juan's
Warner's
a big guy. He's a big Galvan guy, like me.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, for
Yep.
sure. I knew he wouldn't be stoked when I brought that up. Sorry, Juan. This is kind of where we're standing now that Diak is on there. We put a question mark next to Galvan because we don't know. Likely, it's a long window, right? Like you saw Giassi a couple years ago come in April, right at the end of the
Yeah,
window.
yeah.
So like,
It can
could
happen.
something happen? For sure. I'm thinking this is what it looks like going in. We could debate on who's starting on a wing, who's starting where, what the position looks like. But I feel pretty confident this is what we're getting. Captain Keegan down there on the bottom with Vines on the other side.
Yeah, I think that's
That-
pretty spot on.
The Bombito spot, I'm much less confident in starting than I was a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What?
Because,
Why so? I'm just curious. I'm not.
yeah, I've just heard that Lawless has had a really good camp, that Armas likes him.
He's a vet, too.
He's a vet. Bombino's going to make some mistakes when you throw him in full time.
I think it depends on how much cover we're going to need, meaning how often or how much does he want to use Keegan and Sammy Vines pushing up? You know what I mean? And then what that's exposing in the back?
Yeah, because we saw Bombi make those runs from center back where he was getting into the box like, he was sprinting.
And he can do it. That's what's
right.
fun.
So do you need Keegan to stay back? Is that the best use of Keegan? Bombi is such an interesting piece. So, it's tough to really say how he fits. You know how Lawless fits.
Right.
He fits next to Maxu. He fits next to Keegan.
And we haven't seen
That's
enough
just what I'm thinking
yeah.
when I see that.
No, I think you're right, though. To start with, I think that's probably...
But you love seeing Georgie, Cole, Omir. Boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Rafa in front. Boom. It's interesting. Diak, we'll see. I mean, the scouting on him is physical, fast closing speed.
Yeah.
S-tier closing speed.
I'm anxious to watch
playing
him.
in Turkey. He's played some, there's some big names in Turkey. Now you're not seeing the biggest names, but you have your Icardis and guys like that. And he has been a disruptor in the defensive midfield. And now will that translate? He obviously didn't get to play much in France. Mm-hmm. Will that translate? We'll see. But they didn't tackle last year. They just didn't tackle.
I heard his name is Jack. Pronounced Jack.
Good luck to me for this season. Okay, let's looking at that now and seeing who's new and who's in.
Okay.
Let's talk about some single season marks in Rapids history. Best season in I have six stats.
Hit me.
Obviously, number one, goals. Diego Rubio, Conor Casey have had 16 in a season. That is the club record. Based on what we see in that roster, based on what we feel about this team, will someone score 17 or more goals this season?
I think that number's safe.
I think it's safe too, unfortunately.
Just leave it at that.
But I don't think it's safe because they're not going to score a lot. I think it's safe because a lot of people are going to score.
Completely true.
I just don't think I don't think Rafa's maybe. I mean, man.
I know.
That you need Rafa to be close to breaking that. Because you're about to spend the most you've ever spent on someone.
We need a couple of guys in double digits.
Yes.
Now, who are they at this point?
Got to be Rafa.
You really think he has to be one, doesn't he?
Has to be. Or you're not spending the money and then is it Yapi time?
I mean, you need, but I don't know.
Picking up
if it's
another
gonna be
striker
him.
in the summer window? Like, because the way the roster's built, he has to be the guy.
Because then we're in the same boat as we were last year.
Yes.
And the year prior.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And the year before.
And
And the year before. And the year before.
Rapids
and the
eternity.
Year before, and the year before that.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, for sure.
So
Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think it's going to...
it's going to be goals by committee. Yeah.
It will. Totally. And I'm fine by that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think it's goals by committee. Until I see it, I am still not sold on Rafa.
That's fine.
I want him to be the dude. Like, this is not me down on him.
Agreed.
Like,
Totally,
I
yeah.
want him to be the guy, and I want to throw a bunch of money for him because he's the guy. It's just we haven't seen it yet. So, again, it's just preseason. So, hopefully, all of this, the Armas system, everything, hopefully, is in the preseason is starting to come together to gel where the ball can be serviced into him and he just absolutely blows it up.
Could you imagine a 20
punches
goal
me
season?
in the face with
God.
goals.
A 20 goal season for a Rapid. You forget the Lawless kids. It's
It
whoever
wouldn't
scores
matter.
20 goals. Yeah, forever.
It would solve a lot of questions, that's for sure.
A lot of questions. Okay, assists. The GOAT. Well, maybe not the Rapids GOAT, but definitely one of them. Valderrama, 16 in 2002. 16 assists. When Georgie came in, I'm like, man, Georgie could probably set that mark. And then I saw that it's 16. And I go, okay, I don't know if Georgie can set that mark. It's a lot of assists, man. That is a lot
And
of
that's
assists.
a lot of scoring that has to be done on the
Because
back
it won't
end
be
of
just that person assisting, right? So
yeah.
it's tough.
I think that
I think that's
record
a s-
stands.
I think that
that's-
record stands for a while.
Yeah, I think that's safe.
All right.
Look how long it has stood.
Yeah.
And we've
Over
had
20
some
years.
pretty
Yep.
good.
Well, and things were so wide open then in MLS. Like,
Yeah, it
That's
was.
true. Especially
goal
a guy like
scoring was
Valderrama was just
bananas.
light years
Yeah.
above everyone
Yeah.
else on the field.
Especially at that
Yeah.
time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to the MLSers that made it to the league at that time, and professional players will be
Yeah, it
better
was
than I'll ever
different-
be at soccer, but
different league.
he was light years ahead. So having a record light years ahead of everyone makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. And come on, the dude was world class. I mean,
He's so cool. He's cool as fuck.
And he looked
Like,
good while he
come
did
on,
it.
man.
So-
As cool as ever. Okay. Yellow cards. This is a recent record. This is 2022. Brian Acosta had 11 yellows in a season. It is. All of these stats are courtesy of MLSsoccer.com. So if you find something else that I may be off on, but that's what I have found. 11 yellows. Now, if Galvan's out the door, your hope is that Lawless, who has had 9 before in the
I was going to
season,
say, how many games does Lawless start this year?
Lawless is the only one who
if
would
he
come
starts,
close.
No,
you could see it, but I think that one is also safe. Brian Acosta
I agree.
with the evergreen tweet in the game threads of, what do you know, another yellow for Brian Acosta.
I think that's safe.
I just don't see someone like angry. Like, there's no Lucas on this team. There's no Galvan. There's no.
Pricey's gone. Lawless won't play 38 games,
No,
whatever it is.
no. Not with Nate and Bombi back there. He
Yeah.
doesn't. I mean, he'll play, but he won't play enough.
I think that's safe.
I think it's safe too. Red cards. Low record. I expected to see 3, maybe 4.
Is this Pablo? Who has this?
Well, it has happened 5 times. Not Pablo.
Oh, my gosh.
It has happened 5 times. Most recently, Braian Galvan last year and Gustavo Vallecilla the year before
Oh my
with
gosh.
2.
Remember that guy.
There's some names back there that I forgot to write down. But 2. Only 2. Again, unless you're talking about, if you see maybe guys like Bombi and Nate playing a ton, right? Where maybe
Yeah.
they're out of position in the box, handball, anything crazy like that, I could see it if you go very young in defense. But I think that one's safe too.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that one may be equaled and or surpassed. And the only reason I say that is because Chris Armas' aggressive style he's going to push.
That's true.
So there's going to be a lot of attack, recovery, and when you lose the ball quick, it's going to the thought is you want to recover it quick, so you might make a few more rash decisions. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Are we breaking it?
No, I'm trying to think who would be the guy on the current squad.
Like-
and this is, I don't think you're gonna think I'm going this way. It's Cole.
Oh
No.
It's Cole Bassett. Like, he would be.
I think you're on.
Yeah, like if anybody does it, it's going to be Cole Bassett. One, because he's at that position where chaos happens, and recovery is essential. But also, Cole gets super pissed.
He does.
He gets so pissed off.
Yeah.
Like,
He
and
takes
so
stuff personally.
He
He
takes
does
it
not F
personally.
around.
He does. I think he
I
takes it
love it.
personally, but he also, like, as we saw at the end of the season last year, like, he also, like, he is a leader of the club, and like,
Yes.
he's from Colorado, like the Rapids, like, the dude bleeds Burgundy. Like, it is part of who he is. So if something happens, the game's not going well, he's going to take it personally for himself, but he's going to take it personally for the Rapids.
Yeah.
And he holds
I-
people accountable.
Yeah, he will.
Yep.
Okay,
So-
I got 2 more,
Okay. Sorry.
which we're going to get to on the other side of a quick, short break. And we're back. All right. That'll make sense if you're an audio
Shout out
listener.
to
It does
super
not make
producer
any
Tiff
sense.
helping us out.
Doesn't make sense to any of you guys watching. Okay.
Doesn't make much sense to me, but I don't know.
Here's a name that you two might click in there.
Okay.
Penalty goals scored.
Okay.
This was a mark set in 2014.
2014.
You guys want to throw a name out there? Or maybe in the chat, throw a name out?
2014.
PKs in 2014.
He scored 5 goals from the spot. That is the record. Until you get into those weird, like, keepers taking penalties back in the
Yeah.
early MLS days with Cannon and Garlic and
I'm
I
blank.
need to see the roster.
These lights are pressuring
Yeah.
pressure. It is Vicente Sanchez.
Oh yeah.
5 goals from the spot. This is one I circled.
The fact that they earned that many is pretty.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's, I mean, we're talking seasons, including last year, where the team takes 2 penalties,
Yeah.
like they did
Exactly.
last year. Good job, Jared. I don't know when you said that versus when we said it, but I'm going to give you thumbs up on
Yeah.
We don't know
calling
if he was answering or after we said it, he was like, what?
And you spoke to it in the red card discussion where this is going to be an aggressive team. They're going to be aggressive all over the
Yeah.
place. They're fast as hell. Can they get ahead of guys? Can you get some reds on some obvious goal scoring chances? If you're pressuring that box, can
Yep.
you get some handballs? Can you get... so I just don't know who the penalty taker is. Because last year, Rafa didn't even get to take one. Conor took one.
Galvan.
He took a couple, didn't he? Missed
Ronan
one and hit
took
one.
missed one,
Yeah.
and Galvan took one, made one. And that was it.
Ronan took one and crushed one.
Buried one.
I could see Cole possibly being given that this year, but
I'm
yeah.
just not really sure because we haven't seen Rafa at the spot.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean he can't do it, but we just haven't seen it. But I do think there'll be enough opportunities because Rubio had 4 in his 16-goal season, right? So if your team is scoring enough and pressuring enough, you'll have the chances.
Yes.
So maybe. That one's a maybe.
I think that gets close.
Yeah.
I don't think it breaks it, but
5's a lot.
agree with you.
5's a lot.
And I think it comes down to those 3 guys, Rafa, Conor, and Cole,
Yep.
as potential takers.
Maybe. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Yappy's the guy. Who knows?
Maxo.
That'd be awesome. I love defenders taking penalties, man.
Or just watch Keegan put it through the back of the net.
Just rock it.
Yeah.
Put a hole in the net. Okay, last one. Clean sheets. Set by William Yarbrough, 2021. He
Yeah.
had 13.
Miss him already.
13. Now you get
That's
a
a lot,
whole extra tournament in your season stats
Yeah.
with Leagues Cup coming in. Can you make a run? Well, who knows what's going to happen with Open Cup, but
I think it stays.
Stefan,
I think Stefan and Yarby, I mean, people, I don't know if people agree with me on this or I'll get thrown under the bus, but I think they're very similar. Like,
I think so too.
you know, like I'm excited for Zach coming in,
Yeah,
but I don't see him coming in and being like the top keeper in the league. You know, I think he's a top 10 for sure. But I think the output will be, you know, he's at Yarby's level, you know, whether it's above or below that, who knows?
which is a
That's a great thing.
Third to quarter
Yeah.
MLS
Yes.
keeper.
It's a good
Yes.
thing, but I also think that when you look at the coaching change, going from a very defensive minded coach with Robin Fraser, where everybody on the pitch, including the 9, every forward, they were all defenders. I think they
you
hated
look at
that.
the profile last year.
You know,
the best
everybody was a
defense,
defense.
statistically,
Yeah.
the best defenders were up top. The worst defenders were in back. They gave up a ton of goals.
Yeah,
last
and
year.
I think
Yeah.
it's
a ton.
it's
Some
going to
silly
be
stuff.
different
They
just
had
because
the fewest
of
tackles
yep.
in the league. Loffelson, Jock. Those are the guys that are going to change that tone. You would hope.
Yep.
Vines
Yep.
mixing it up.
Lawfulson, by the way, sneaky.
Ooh,
Watch him.
we like Loffelson.
Watch him.
We like Loffelson. My guy draft next week. Little sneak preview.
Oh, okay.
Last year's, I had a criminal on mine, so who knows?
Possibly the worst, probably the worst my guys drafting on any beat at DNVR. Every beat does it.
But I bet you Loffelson
And
gets picked.
between Mitch and
bet you.
I, worst my guys draft in history.
Giant asterisk
Awful.
after that.
Awful.
I don't want to talk about it. Clean sheets,
Moving on.
probably safe. if that defense doesn't tackle.
Yeah.
Because last year they literally had the fewest tackles in Major League Soccer.
Again, I think system is going to dictate on that one.
Yep.
And if Waffleson / Jock, whoa, we have a defensive six. This is great, right? Like if that's the case, that actually, Maxu, Nate Jones, Bombi, Keegan, Sam. Okay, you're kind of cooking with gas. You're setting up Stefan for success at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
He is a shot stopper.
I think he's going to do well here. I think he's going to do well with that group that you just said.
So let's circle that one as a maybe. Okay, that's the single season records thing. Kind of interesting. We think assists, no way. Goals, safe. Yellow cards, that's a tough one to break, but Lawless, we're looking at you, buddy. Red cards.
Here's one I do while we're talking about cards. I don't know what the record is for least number of cards.
I mean, it's
Rapids.
probably 0.
I think we really made it a zero.
No.
Yeah.
There's got to be something.
All right, keep talking.
I think it's going to be.
Make your point, and I'll find
the
it real
point
quick.
is, I think it's going to be a low number of cards.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean as
this
a club?
year, as a club.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's definitely not 0.
per person, of course.
Of course,
I
it's
mean,
not
we
0.
do have keepers who have gotten reds recently, but but yes, of course, there's been individuals who have 0 cards. I'm saying as a club, I think we may hit a low number of cards as a squad.
Oh man, this is tough to sort.
Look at it. Look at him typing away over there.
It's tough to
Keyboard.
sort.
I'm
Last
looking
year
up-
the Rapids.
This is why I do qualitative.
Last year the Rapids.
I have time for numbers.
See, and I'm an eye test guy. I'm not.
That's me too.
Yeah.
I don't even see them.
Ooh, how does that feel?
1, 2, 3, 4. They were 5th, 83 cards, which was actually tied for 3rd.
Third most?
Houston had 92. Red Bulls and Charlotte at 87. Miami and Colorado at 83.
I think
Fewest in the league, New England at 50. So could you aim for closer to 50 than 90, which was you're pretty close to 90.
That's a big drop.
It's a huge range. And those teams are all pretty disciplined teams with a lot of vets. Toronto, Kansas City, Austin, Minnesota, Seattle. You have a lot of veteran midfielders in that group.
I could see.
So
I
it's
think,
interesting.
I think there's a mindset with Armas, and he said it here on the show. You've heard it, on Apple TV on the new segment it's out. He is very much club over individual.
Yes.
The Rapids always have that mantra of there are no stars here. We have a team.
that's been
But
pretty
Armas
consistent.
pushes that hard, and I think with that mentality, guys are going to be on the field, and they're going to have that in their head. Like, how does this hurt the club? This next challenge, does this card affect the club? Does it end up subbing me off for somebody else? I don't know. I have an
I hope
idea.
so.
Yeah, I feel like guys. Plus, we have some very cerebral guys. When you think about
I
Cole
feel
and
like
Keegan and
spatial awareness.
yeah, it's different.
They're
yes.
calm within the game.
No
too.
Lucas, no Costa, no Galvan. No Rubio, no Jack. The hotheads.
I just feel like
aren't
there's
on
less
this
cards
field.
overall.
Yeah.
Keegan is a captain. I mean, Keegan's ice water.
Yeah,
Keegan is.
he's the
I
ice.
mean, look at that back line. Keegan, Maxo, Sammy. Just,
cool customers.
Yeah. They never look rattled. Ronan's another one. I mean,
Bombi, I think, is
could-
just good enough that he doesn't know to be nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just
And
confident
young- yeah,
because
yeah.
he's so physically gifted. He doesn't know any better.
Nate
So we'll see.
Jones. He's going to be the.
Oh, I hope so.
Nate Jones
I like
will be
that.
the
I hope
the
Nate
tide
Jones,
turner on that.
Kamani.
I can
Give me
see
some
Nate
spice.
Jones
Give me some
destroying
spice.
some
We need
dudes.
some goons.
He'll be our hockey goon. Yeah.
Okay, that's really all I have for this segment. Statistically, we have about another just under 10 minutes.
Okay.
You, Brian, let's talk you.
Oh, God.
Not
Let's
just you.
talk
See you, everybody.
Brian.
Let's, Burgundy Wave has been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact first year. Do you?
Actually, I don't. It was before I came on, obviously. I mean, I came on in a whole separate lifetime.
Right. And so you've seen a lot of turnover in that. You've seen a lot of turnover in the Rapids press corps.
Yeah.
Um,
Front office.
front office team, the supporter group. You've seen it all. I guess, now you're semi back this year. You took last year. I saw you in the stands. I'd see you down on the concourse.
I'll be there again, yeah. Season ticket holder.
Why?
Woo.
So you'll be downstairs, but you're working with, you were at media day, you were at training. I've seen you training a lot. What keeps bringing you back? Because, as people, none of us, this is
Don't laugh at me, Duane.
This is
I'm laughing because I am also in that boat.
This is none of our full-time jobs. You name a Rapids media member, it is not their full-time job. Why keep coming back for this?
I just love being around the game at this level. I love being involved with the game at this level.
Sure.
I didn't grow up as a soccer player. I grew, and some people know my history. I know. I'm sorry if I'm regurgitating. But I grew up in the Midwest. Soccer was a 4-letter word, and it wasn't until about '98 when I went to work for the Kansas City Wizards. I was living in Kansas City at the time, and that I really got hooked. The '94 World Cup kind of got me, here in the States. And I went to work. I love the league. I love just seeing it up close and being a part of it. And every year that has grown and grown and grown. And whether it's, the acquaintances I make from players to coaches to our PR contacts to front office, it's been great. I mean, I've rarely, if ever, had a bad experience. So I love being a part of that. I am an eternal optimist. I'm always the glass half full guy as far as the Rapids go. Everybody knows I'm a homer. If you don't,
we're not. And don't look at our season predictions from last year.
Yeah. I'm always that homer
Big
guy.
Big fail on that
one. And just always the possibility of what if we can do it again this year? What if we can do it again this year?
It would be so fun to be a part of that.
Oh man,
you weren't at Burgundy Wave in 2010, were you?
I wasn't at Burgundy Wave. I was kind of on my original. I started out as a contributor for an old site called Soccer 365, and they were UK based, but they had an MLS version or branch. Sure. So I started out with them a year for the Wizards, and then when I moved here to Colorado, I continued that with them. So. That went in through about 2015, I believe.
Okay.
And then I started doing some local contributing. A friend of mine from way back in the day, if some people might know him, Pat Shea, had a site. He started up. It's a lot of internet-based projects of passion. You're
looking at it right here, baby.
Exactly.
We are.
So
internet is the
and
only
that's
reason
what
we exist.
people relate to, and that's what people will follow because they know us as one of them. We're either friends or they have seen us around, and so I did that for a couple of years. Did a couple more year stint with my friends Brendan and Marco. We were started up kind of a Voice of C38 is what it was called. So we did a little bit of written, but also podcasting. For those who remember those dark days. And then I came over once that kind of went under. Just the next step was Burgundy Wave. Abby, our friend Abby,
Shout
was
out
running
Abby.
the show.
Abby, come on the show
her.
if you're listening.
Always nice to see her again. She welcomed me in there too because the things that I like to do are player interviews, coaches interviews. I want to tell their stories, want them to tell their stories in their own words. And that was just getting harder and harder to do through some of the other channels. So I appreciate that avenue. And that's where I am today. That's why I'm kind of sneaking back in.
I love it.
Matt Pollard is very welcoming in that too. And
shout out to the Ginger Ninja.
Yep. So that's kind of what got me back into it.
That's what it says on the back of his media cup kit. I don't know.
It is.
Speaking Media Cup, Braian, you were a scorer in Media Cup. Yes?
Love the Media Cup.
Didn't you score in the last Media
I don't
Cup?
No one
did
scored in
last.
the last one.
No,
Yeah.
there was a goal.
No, it was 0-0 to penalties.
Yeah,
no,
went
it
to-
was 1-1.
Oh, you're
with penalties. Yeah.
Oh, it was 1-1.
I thought it
with
might have been
penalties?
you.
I didn't know.
I
I
know
have not
because the reason your team scored, it was my fault. I was out.
That's
of
right.
and I thought it was Braian. But if the goal had not gone in, that I tried to save the goal, and that was definitely a card that should have been coming my way.
Come on,
And
Emilio, you're
somehow
going
I got
soft.
it.
Yeah.
Emilio didn't see it somehow. I thought that was Braian for some reason. So I apologized on the field. But I was going to apologize
One
again.
last question,
Yeah.
Tiff. I know we're getting close. You ask really insightful questions.
Oh,
You know, I sit in
Thank
that
you.
press
I
box.
appreciate
If there's
that.
5 or 6 of us that all take a stab. You lay out context and you know, like it's not just a question. It's a, you know, well, this happened and this happened. Why is that? You know,
Yeah.
X, Y, and then Z. Have you always been like that? Did you earn that over time as you've bounced from outlet to outlet and covering teams?
I think it's just more of dealing with the type of people that I've dealt with, whether it's visiting coaches, visiting players. That's what's been the cool thing. I've interviewed some amazing, fun to talk to individuals, and it's just trying to get more out of them. I try to keep the basic rule of open ended. I don't want to tell them what they're going to tell me.
Right.
I want to really kind of set the stage and get them to expand on that.
Right.
And that's always been a thing, whether it's been in my full-time job in sales or in this, getting them to speak, getting them to tell their story. I mean, some people you don't even have to try. I interviewed Ray Hudson back in the day, and that was an all-time classic. Sometimes people, it's just how you relate to them.
Sure.
I knew Peter Vermees for years before he took over. So he was always just an easy chat for me, whereas I know other people had trouble
Sure.
getting him to talk. So and the other thing is it's like this. It's very
Right.
conversational.
It has to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they can tell when you're trying to, I think, get something out of them that may not need to be out there or they don't want to share. But if you get a rapport and you have a conversation with them, it's an easy chat. It really is.
I love that.
That's been my approach, I guess.
Well, we're excited to have you back this season. Go
Thank
ahead. And
you.
where can people find you this season? Where can people follow your work?
Yeah, of course, I'm on the X, former Twitter
Yeah,
site.
we can say
at
Twitter.
MLS from 5280, of course. But I'll be contributing in to Burgundy Wave with some player interviews. Got a couple coming up this week that I'm going to talk to, so look for that. And I'll be out in the stands.
Love that.
Look for me behind the bench, usually in some sort of a Rapids Legend kit.
Love that one. Duane, do you want to plug us out of here?
We're running a little long, but the good news is while you're hanging out, the next show on the docket is
The DNVR Rockies.
the DNVR Rockies with one of my favorite tweeters in the world, Susie Hunter,
Shout out.
celebrating
Oh, nice.
National Girls and Women in Sports Day.
Nice.
And she dropped this tweet, I think it was a year ago, but I saw it resurface yesterday. Oh, you support women in sports, huh? Name every woman.
No, name a woman.
It was just the funniest. I don't know. She cracks me up. So stick around for Susie and the Rockies.
Yeah, in terms of covering the Rapids, obviously Tiff helps us out. Alyssa helps us out. You have
Thank
Sydney
you.
over at Rapids Digital. It's the whole social team, the whole game presentation team.
You guys are doing great work. Keep
Doing
it up.
great work. Thank you so
Really
much.
appreciate it.
You definitely will be back, and I'm just letting you know that now.
No,
So
no pressure. Thank you.
become a diehard at thednvr.com. Get your discount at the bar. Get your discount on merch. Get your free merch. Get your access to events, cheaper tickets. Get behind the paywall. Check out all the fun content that we have going on over there. Subscribe on YouTube. And more important than all of that, how we always end it, baby. Up the pits.
Aloha.
We all silly like the mayor.